Good morning. Happy Friday. Hello, everyone. Jeremiah, Silver, Julie, Shawnee, Clara, Eleanor, Kat, Angel, Rachel. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello. Happy General Strike Day. Yeah, I just made a video actually about Don Lemon, but I'm more concerned with the voting registration thing. Which voting registration thing? Jose, thank you for 2 months. Appreciate you. Good morning, Susie. Where he took the rolls. I don't care if he takes the 2020 rolls. What can he do with the 2020 voter rolls? It's not the 2020 election anymore. I'm definitely more not happy with them turning over the voter rolls, get the states to purge voters from them. They cannot force states to do that. They have no authority to do that. They have no authority over states' voter rolls. $10 billion court case with IRS. Yup. Because he wants to try and prove that he's been right all along. It is all, he is a narcissist who thinks he is never wrong. And he is willing to spend billions of dollars of our money, if that's what it takes, to convince himself and everyone that he was right all along. That's why. Yeah, a couple Republicans are shutting down the government. Summer, thank you for becoming an amucker. I appreciate you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You guys are very, very kind. Lindsey Graham is helping shut down the government, or at least partially shut down the government. My concern is with the Doge meddling that they may have to punish people relying on Social Security. That's true. I heard that the donors to the ballroom have backed out. If they are smart, yep. That wouldn't surprise me at all. And of course, the Republican sycophants are blaming the Democrats again. One of us. One of us. Summer, that is very kind of you. That means, I mean, every sub means a lot, but the fact that the only one you sub to is me means a real lot. The fact that anyone is willing to give and make it possible for me to keep doing this. Hey, Rosa, the Cali Bar video was great. It was. She's pretty cool. And this is her second time running, which I think means she'll have a better shot. Because of what happened with Japan and the bond market, they're pulling back spending. Yep. I got 3 more interviews today, and then I get a couple days off. It'll be so nice. Maybe 2. I think one person had to cancel or move it to another day. They couldn't do it today. Yeah. Yeah. I got only 2 today. So, phew. My video this morning. I'm not sure I want to keep it. You know, I completely understand. You're just in the flow zone. There's a lot of amazing people that so one of the interesting people that I interviewed yesterday is the guy running against Mike Johnson in Louisiana. It was very exciting. I'm not sure what his chances are, but he's a cool dude, and it was awesome to talk to someone who's going to do that. I know you do, Silver, and I appreciate that. I appreciate everyone that watches this stuff more than you know. Thank you, Susie. Again, it means the world that you guys support me as much as you do. There are a few people I've talked to who are looking forward to speaking to you. Nice, good. Hey, Jen. Thank you, Silver. That means a lot to me. There's still a lot of courageous people who love our country. Yes, Julie. The amount of veterans that are running is wild. And somewhat not surprising. People that are willing to give their life for this country, I could see being willing to fight in another way. But it's pretty crazy how many veterans and scientists. I've interviewed 3 scientists over the last 2 days that are running in federal and state for federal or state office. The person I just interviewed last night invented an AI machine that you put in water and it will detect when like dangerous chemicals and things are in the water for you. And she's 22 and she invented this. There's an actual rocket scientist you've reached out to who's running? Heck yeah. I like that the candidates are younger generations that are enthusiastic about running considering the chaos they would be getting in. Yep. Yep. I wish we knew what the military would do if the proverbial excrement comes in contact with the artificial wind machine. We need more young people to take these dinosaurs out of office. Yep. Yeah, it's really crazy. The more and more I do this, the more I realize that how some of the people I thought were better than they really are. And it just shows, it proves to me how bad being in office for a long time is. And if anything, it increases the need in my mind to have term limits. Because people that may have been good in the beginning, 35 years in office, they've obviously changed. Oh yeah, it's all over all over the board. Every kind of person imaginable is running. Pretty cool. I need to Rosa, I want to try and reach out to AOC, let her know what we're doing and see if she'd be willing to talk. I like to think this is something she would be interested in. I just don't know how to do it. Boomer here wanting to get rid of the government of the Jurassic Park class. Yeah. There are a few who still do the work, but too many have been blinded by money in their pockets. I think when you've been in it a long time and you're the older generation, which again, no offense to anyone who's an older generation. Arguably, I am an older generation. It becomes really easy to see the world from one perspective. And 35 years in a job is a long time. I find it I think any job that I would, if I was in a job for 35 years, I would struggle with change too. I give big kudos. Hey now, who you calling old? I know. I give big kudos to Bruno because he's not a dinosaur despite his age. But even Bernie, if you watch some of the stuff he does, you see the fact that he is definitely better at it than most. The fact that he is his age and is doing what he's doing is amazing, and I obviously support him. But every once in a while, you still see the fact that he's been doing this for a long time coming out too. And not that he is against change, but you just see it come out. And it's not a bad thing. Everyone's different. Everyone sees things differently. That's part of living in the world we live in. I don't hold him. I don't think it's a bad thing that he is old. I just time to get new blood. Bernie, great to speak, but he should move on to consult, not be in office. In the long term, yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it's been good that he's there. I think of all the people, I think there are definitely some good people there. But yeah, we need age and term limits no matter how great. They should all adhere to it. Yep, I agree. I think sometimes it's easy to have this perspective that the only people that would be good are the ones that are doing it right now. This idea that there couldn't be other good people. The idea that there couldn't be other people as good as Bernie. They don't deserve medical benefits for life. I agree. I also agree with that. When JFK said the torch has been passed to a new generation, he would be disappointed for some of that new generation would still have a stranglehold on the country. Yeah, seriously. It's kind of nuts if you think about it. I mean, I agree, Clara. Morning, Kia. I'd say that the ones that would be leaving office should get benefits because it has been their career, unfortunately. But going forward, they shouldn't be in office long enough to require it. No, I think people even right now, most of them have built up plenty of wealth to be able to cover themselves, and they can get health insurance in the same way that other old people get health insurance. They can get they can get Social Security the same way other people get Social Security. Now, my understanding is they actually pay for their health insurance. Just to be fair. Trust me, I don't like them. But I don't like how it all works, but talking about people need to get out of office. We were talking about the people that I've been interviewing. We were talking about Don Lemon. Right now, we're talking about the fact that people need to leave. The old people need to get out of office. Morning, Ambrosia. Just about levitated out of my bed. I wish I were surprised. I wish I were surprised. Again, this isn't surprising. This has been the MO of this administration from the beginning. He was arrested while covering the Grammys. Yep. For the reason they tried to get him arrested earlier and couldn't. For inciting for civil rights violations, for protesting in a church. Hey, Garpu. Yeah, they just judge shopped. Which isn't a surprise. Oh yeah, there's no way it's going to stick. I have to leave the house in an hour and don't wanna. I feel you. I'm more curious why Tulsi is involved in the Georgia voting stuff. Because she's not doing her job. She's not doing her job. None of them are doing their job. They're all doing a billion other things. Does he have a Rolodex of it? No. He's got the internet. According to his lawyer, he's fine. At least from what I've read. Maybe he gets his bruises from flipping through his 80s Rolodex. Maybe. Maybe. You think they'd ask another state? I mean, they didn't ask. They went in and took it. And they took 2020, not 2024, 2025. They didn't take current ones. They took old ones. I think Trump goes off of concepts of bruised ego. Oh, sure. 100%. Hundo%. And that little spring door stop thingies, I used to drive her insane in her office. That's fair. Yep. Yep. Those are the things that all kids seem to play with. You had one in 98 when you graduated? I never had a Rolodex. My dad may have. I didn't. That's because we're cool, not old. Yeah. Yep. That's it. You got it. You figured it out. You figured it out. All becoming clear now. Morning, Linda. Amen, Rosa. I'm sure they'll be reasonable. Yeah, right. Cat has noped out under the blanket, may join him today. Yes, Linda. Don Lemon was arrested. Yep. Hey, Shawnee. Hey, Lori. Getting worse by the day. That's what happens when they see their world crumbling down. You get worse. That's how you fix things, is by getting worse in their world. Hey, Loki. Good morning. Oh, I appreciate you being here. That means a lot. Feel like they're going to do something crazy this weekend. Again, wouldn't surprise me. They just found someone else to sign off on it, Linda. They just found someone else to sign off on it. Yes, I do as well, Ambrosia. I do believe that. I believe what we are seeing is the exact same as what has happened before every major progress in society, at least in the United States. It always pulls back a little before it moves forward. Hey, Anna. Sometimes a lot, but it always pulls back before it moves forward. Because at some point, Kat, what is going on now feels worse than the possibility of it's a balance when you have a regime like this. They use fear to try and control people, but at some point the fear of you see what's happening and you say it can't be, like, it ends up not being able to be worse. So hey, Die. When the current situation feels worse than standing up against it, that's when people start standing up against it. And for everybody, that level is different. Good morning, Dee Dee. Hey, Courtney. Am I okay today? I am okay today. I'm always tired, but that's because I'm interviewing like 4 or 5 people every single day that are running for office. Thank you for asking. Good morning, Dottie. Yeah, Lori, we've been talking about it, that Don Lemon got arrested. I mean, it doesn't surprise me that they found somebody to sign off on it. Doesn't Who am I interviewing today? Someone who's running in Oklahoma. I don't remember where the other people are running. I just know one of them is running for Senate in Oklahoma. Your interviews are bringing out some awesome people. It makes me excited for our future. Yeah. Yesterday I interviewed someone who is running against the current Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. That was pretty cool. Yes. Yes, the full interviews are over on the tube. Yep. Yeah, and starting next week, I've normally been putting out 2, but I have so many, and a lot of people's primaries are already coming up, so there's probably going to be more than 2 coming out a day. So if you're not following over there, please do. Help get them some visibility and name recognition. That's how they have the chance of actually winning their primaries. Yes, and Iowa. Yep. You are right, Rosa. Oh, goodbye, Gus. Good morning, Bobya. I still have the opinion that it's not the Dems are going to turn out to vote this midterm. It's going to destroy. It's the independents. Well, yeah. A lot of, again, everyone in this country should be an independent. If you're asking me, everyone should be an independent. No one should be voting based on party. They should be voting based on fundamentals. So far, who has been the most exciting candidate? Oh man. It really all depends. I've interviewed some amazing people in Kentucky. I've interviewed some amazing people in Tennessee, North Carolina, Virginia, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Iowa, Idaho. Like, I don't know if I can say who's the most exciting. They're all like, you watch them and you're just like, these are such amazing people. New Jersey. I interviewed someone from Connecticut, a couple people from Connecticut, New Hampshire, Louisiana, Florida, Colorado, Texas. I found out in one of my interviews that for the first time ever, there's a Democrat running in every state and federal seat in Texas. I need you to understand. I need you to hear that. Every single state and federal seat in Texas has a Democrat running. Chelsea was very cute. I liked her. Reed was good too. Yep. How many military personnel? Of who I've interviewed so far, probably at minimum 2/3 are former military, I would say. I just interviewed someone who's running in Missouri, who's former military. It is not here to stay. It wasn't here to begin with. Be right back. All right, Shug. By the way, hi, Shug. Grow up, Joseph. You're a freaking child. It is amazing, Di. It is amazing. Aw, goodbye, Mike. I am interviewing Democrats, progressives specifically, people that want to change things, people that aren't taking PAC money. But these people need your support. My wife said she would leave me if I ran. I mean, that's fair. Also getting a lot of scientists running, which is cool too. Why do you want to abolish ICE? I don't believe that ICE serves the purpose it was originally created for. It's become something else that is no longer does no longer align with the Constitution. That does not mean that there cannot be something in the government that focuses on making sure that criminals get sent, are not in our country, but it doesn't need to be ICE. What's up, Captain? Community people can come up if you want. Are you going to talk about the Dems and the shutdown today? I mean, so they made a deal. The Senate Democrats made a deal with Trump to split DHS off the final budget things that needed to be signed, and Lindsey Graham stopped it because he was mad that the House took out the provision, removed the provision that would allow him to sue the federal government. Why aren't Democrats doing anything? What do you mean by doing anything? What is your what do you see as doing something? They got a lot, like they're taking no questions, there's no candidates, they're just running with chickens. What are you talking about? There's tons of candidates, literally tons. No, Democrats want the rule of law, but thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm just gonna do I just had a couple of things that I wanted to say as we were kind of chit chatting, and do my commercial real quick because I felt like doing it earlier might be better. Um, one of the things that somebody on the other side talked about how in the primaries and in the general midterms, there's a lot of Republicans that don't come out and vote historically. And that may be true. One of the things that I'm concerned about is the fact that the MAGA leadership has been really fanning the flames about what progressives are going to do to this administration's wonderful things, I'm putting that in quotes, um, dismantling a lot of it. So that's why in the primaries and in this general midterms are going to be so important. And I don't want, to me, I'm personally not going to try to take my eye off the prize on that. Um, and that's why the primaries are so important. Um, two, um, there's, I know we just started, but for those of you that don't know, over on the tube, we have tons of podcasts of the different people in the primaries that he's talking about, interviews, long and short content that are amazing to watch. And we are also live over there. That's usually where I live. And we have really great discussions over there. So not only are we talking about what's going on over here, but we get to be a little bit more in depth over there as far as discussion. So come over and join us over there because I think a lot of people don't realize we're there and how much fun we have. And really, we have a lot of great conversations over there. So that's kind of all I really wanted to say. You
Yes.
know me, I don't stay long. So
Nope. You're good. Thank you. I appreciate that.
That was perfect. I was finishing brushing out my hair. Good morning.
Good morning. But yeah, this whole again, everything that we're seeing, thing with Don Lemon to yesterday, everything. I've said this will happen. This is going to happen. None of this is a surprise. Feel free to be pissed about it because we should be pissed about it. But understand that this is why they don't even. This is why I always say when we say we have to fight fire with fire is we've got people that don't have a line they won't cross. And when you're fighting fire with someone has a line they won't cross, you end up tend to go too far. So we need to be careful. We need to fight back. We absolutely need to fight back, and we need to keep fighting back. But we also need to remember that we aren't them. Thank you, Ziggy. Fed judge agrees to dismiss federal unaliving charges against Luigi, taking unaliving penalty off the table. Wow.
Wow, how did that happen?
I know how it happened. We have they when you've got people that do and say really stupid things to seem tough and to be tough, you say things that can get people off. They botched so much of the investigation. And I wish I were surprised.
So now will he be able to get this like what happens after that?
Well, I mean, just right, he'll still have to defend himself on the other charges. So there are repercussions for the other charges. It just means the unaliving penalty is off the table. Hi, Ash. Zorat, I appreciate you being here. I do not speak. I think that's Italian.
And I can't get this. I got the first one to translate. The second one won't translate. But regardless, like, please don't use caps. If you can hear us in Italian, I hope. That would be cool. I'm curious how that works.
I mean, if what you're saying is what I'm guessing you're saying is you don't want ice in Italy, and I agree, you shouldn't have ice in Italy. 100% agree. Morning, Lori. But yeah, this whole Don Lemon thing is going to make things worse. Like, you don't arrest journalists. You don't arrest journalists. Hey, Patrick. Like, that is as big of a First Amendment violation as you can get. Weren't they arresting people for not getting vaxxed? No, they weren't.
Nice try.
Hey, Shell.
There was like nothing said or that's happening right now that's like funny enough for you to be throwing a bunch of laughing faces all across. I was wondering what everybody kept talking about with Don Lemon, and I was like, what the hell happened?
I mean, I just heard this morning, I was doing my scroll through to see people, you know, of my friends, and one of my mutuals talked about it, so I looked it up. Hey, Anna, how are things in France?
That one translated. Sorry.
It did.
The last one said, "Who are you to judge me? You don't know me." It was so weird.
I don't think she understood what we were saying. That's all I can think. Also, Georgia Fort, they arrested her home and took her to Whipple. Yeah. No, I know. There's a lot. There's a lot. And unfortunately, none of it's... I'm in bed by 10 p.m., so I didn't read about this till morning. Yeah.
And I was up, but like, I turn on WRAL when I get up in the morning, but I don't like... I go and I check. Right now I'm going to check and see if there's any foals. We're on full watch with Katie. But I, go send my heart me and stuff to Mr. Matt, see if there's actually any critters out or whatever. I don't actively read the news because like I feed all the animals inside, outside, take the dogs out, do litter boxes, take my son to work, do all that stuff, and then I'll start reading. But I hadn't even had a chance yet.
Goodbye, Vicky. Saying people should comply is ridiculous. 100% ridiculous. Not only does that go against like almost the entire purpose of the First Amendment, that is the epitome of a narcissist statement. Just do what I tell you and everything will be fine. Anything that's bad that happens to you is because you didn't do what I told you to do. That's not okay in any sense of the word. I mean, it's more than that, Shell, but yes, that is that as well. But it's more than that. you see people do some of the worst things. They, if you don't tell these people to give up, we will drop some ammunition, some large ammunition on it. And if they lose their life, it's your fault because you didn't tell them to give up. Like those kind of things. Like those kind of things have been happening, unfortunately, forever. But you're right. Abusive spouses also do that kind of thing. I hurt you because you didn't do what I told you to do. Sure. Yep.
Definitely feeds so hard into the patriarchy. Like, do as you're told. Don't question anything. And it also kind of seems like from some of the, not all, but some of the more like Christian nationalism version kind of Christianity, that kind of stuff, it's kind of like that. Don't, you
It's
just
built into
comply
it.
whatever we tell you.
It's built into it. It's the idea of if something bad happens to you, it's your fault. You are the reason that bad things are happening to you because you aren't praying enough, you aren't reading the Bible enough, you aren't being a good enough Christian. Yep. Christians, especially the fundamentalist conservative Christians, have used that kind of way of controlling since the dawn of time. Religion has done that. All religions tend to do it, especially very conservative and fundamentalist versions of religion. I don't want to say literally all religions because there are some that don't, but religion is always at danger for doing that. Always. Guys, make sure, just like I said here, if you haven't already, use some of this general music festival to contact your reps about especially if your senators about the funding.
Yeah, it's the language that they use is so disgusting and problematic and just creeping and crawling with misogyny and racism and patriarchal bullshit. It is just so gross on so many different levels.
Anyone see
Next
the
thing they're going to be trying to pass a bill saying that they get to dictate they're going to come back with dowries, and they're going to start, setting up who their kids. The man's got to decide who she's going to marry. That's going to.
Ambrosia just said the P2025 people are suggesting marriage camps to force marriages because women aren't having enough kids. I didn't hear that specific, but I've heard some general talk about that kind of thing. And
What's graduate
worse is
get married.
It's coming from, I'm seeing some podcasters talk about that, but not from that perspective. Like not from the person I heard talk about this idea of almost like in a very more general sense it was the CEO of a Diary of a CEO podcast, which, by the way, I used to think I liked and now I hate. I mean, I've hated it for a while, but I really don't like the way he goes about doing anything. Is this China now? I mean, to be fair, when this is all said and done, they will probably be the ones at the top. Let me ask, being over here, what is a general music festival? Do you remember the No Kings March, Trucker? It's like that. They just don't like the word.
Yeah, and in the US we have to be very careful what we're saying on here now. You might hear music festivals. That's what, is happening right now in Minnesota, Minneapolis, and all over the country. Um, and they're also today the US is like a uh blackout day.
Yes. Yeah. The thing that used to happen, that happens that where unions don't work. That's kind of what this is. I call it a music festival because it's kind of everything going on right now, but we're we're trying to get people to do what they did in Minnesota a little bit ago, where 50,000 people didn't go to work, didn't go to school, didn't buy things. You threw a pitch and the batter missed it. Correct. Summer, I don't blame anyone for spending that has to. We also are going to have literally millions of people that are going to be hit by a massive snowstorm. If you need to get some stuff to keep yourself safe, do it. There are plenty of other people in this country that potentially cannot, that can do the missed baseball swing. And yeah, so I'm just speaking for the intent in. Yep. Oh, anyone that gets on anybody in Minnesota, I'm going to have some words with. Y'all have done the work. Y'all get every bit of leniency humanly possible and more for what you guys are dealing with. And when it comes to this.
And also take it as a day to shop your local businesses that are small owned, people are being hurt.
Sure.
I know they were talking about, like, here in North Carolina, WREL brought that up, that, a lot of these businesses were worried because last weekend we got a bunch of ice, and I mean, businesses were closed for days because in some areas they still have ice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my sister sent me a video yesterday. She still got a shit ton of ice and snow at her house.
Mm-hmm.
And she's in Statesville, and or by Statesville, and a lot of people, and then we're getting snow again this weekend, and then
Yep.
it's going to be cold.
Yep.
So don't feel bad if some people can't shop until Friday because they get paid and there's going to be a storm tomorrow. Try to shop local if you can. This is just do the best you can.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, but I gotta go to work and I forgot. And again, Roxanne, look, I didn't hear about this until 2 days ago. I'm not sure how to do a better way of organizing nationwide. It's going to be difficult. I appreciate us doing this. JS no. JS bye. But yeah, if you didn't hear about it, like, there's no doing these things. I mean, there's going to be another No Kings in March, I believe. I can't remember the date off the top of my
I
head.
think it's March 28th, if I'm not mistaken.
There's going to be all different things going on out there. That we need to, that you'll have ways. Again, 5% is 100%. Every little bit, it's like that video that I put up. If you didn't see it, it talks again, it uses stuff going on here, but it also uses stuff from the show Android. It's this, or Andor. It uses this clip of it, the audio of it. A small Every small form of resistance is resistance. If millions of people do small bits of resistance, that becomes a huge push. Every form of resistance that everyone does is not going to look the same. Make sure that you are doing something. That's the key. There are some easy things out there that don't take a lot of work, that don't take a lot of planning. Because again, like I said, 2 days ago, I found out about this one. There's only so much that I could do planning wise when especially with me and the way things are set up here, that I can do planning wise. There's some easy things about it, but I can't do it all because I didn't plan for it, because I didn't know it was happening.
And we just got to make sure we're careful with that narrative too, because not everybody has it like that to be able to go out and buy extra or anything like that.
Yep.
Do those kind of things.
Mm-hmm. Have we talked? I mean, we've talked about the SAVE Act before, Julie. I mean, that thing has been around for a while. I don't foresee it getting through the Senate. I don't foresee it getting through the Constitution. Now, is that a guarantee? Nothing's a guarantee in society in 2026, but that one's a pretty blatant one. There are some massive possible repercussions for it. Women couldn't vote. What would that do to the women who are in the Senate and in the House? There's a lot of issues that it would cause. Again, there's a lot of issues that it would cause. Should always call your reps. Absolutely. Again, especially right now at this moment, your senators.
Julie said, I'm disabled and have renewed motivation to do my physical therapy so I can try to participate in the next No King's Day. It's amazing. Am I missing?
We're good. Everything's fine.
Sometimes No, Summer just said that's not what I was saying.
I know. We're good. Everything's fine.
I'm asking, am I missing comments again? That's what I'm asking. I'm not asking if everything's fine. I'm just asking because I'm like, what am I missing? Where she's asking, that's not. I'm like, well, I don't see that you said anything. That's why I'm like, am I missing something? Am I missing comments again?
I do not think you're missing comments again.
Okay. On 2023, what is on 2023? Is that a planet? Is that a city? Is that a movie?
A lot of us call our reps often, no matter who's in office. That's the point.
Um, oh
My bestie scream names and emails are usually Rebel Padawan throughout the Star Wars reference. There you go.
I don't know what Padawan is.
It's a Star Wars thing. It's a
Okay.
Star Wars reference. I say let's time travel to 2023 and call our reps. Let's do it.
I'm just really, really curious to see how all this stuff is gonna play out. Like, this is just so gross on so many different levels. Just a gross lack of doing your jobs and diligence, lack of any common decency or sense or following the law, the Constitution. It's just, ugh.
IDDEC. Thank you. Appreciate that. I agree.
How could they even do that? How can they say that they won't take calls from one party or the other? You're all supposed to be their constituents. That's the kind of shit like that, doing stuff like that where you won't take calls from your own constituents, even if if they didn't vote for you. That should automatically disqualify you from being able to run again. Period. You don't have to you know when you're running that not everybody's going to vote for you. But for you to sit there and shut out the people who didn't and don't give them any kind of voice, you shouldn't get to run again, period.
Am I here to get follows or knock people down for their beliefs? No, you just aren't allowed to say whatever you want in my channel. You don't have freedom of speech in my channel. You are allowed to have those beliefs. You just, not all beliefs are allowed to have a voice in this channel.
How'd I know that was Suge coming up here?
I don't know. How'd you know, girl? How'd you know?
I don't know. Because it's always, there's always some kind of like noise in the, not bad, but there's
Yeah.
always some kind of life happening in the background when you come up.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. When I got the little one, it's always gonna be something popping. Probably hear him yapping.
Yep. Still partly ashamed and surprised our district voted for the GOP. I'm surprised anyone would vote for the GOP at this point, but there is a lot of things that I believed were true that I realized weren't after the 2024 election. I kind of knew before then, but it like really hit home after the 2024 election. Or I should say, I probably just didn't want to believe it before, but I do now.
Woody, can you clarify that further? I'm sorry, my little squirrely brain is struggling.
You know, back before 2024, I thought we were better than the idea of voting for someone like him again. And then we did. So I realized we're not better than this. This is exactly who at least a chunk of this country is.
Just the fact that he was nominated again on that side, the fact that they,
Well, like
I guess, you know, for me, it's been an experience watching people who didn't feel like I did, because I would say it surprised me, but not in the way like that I was shocked, surprised maybe. I don't know. I didn't put it above this country to do something like that. I just wish, if it just really pisses me off that if they would have fucking done their job in the Senate and went ahead and convicted his ass, he would have never got to run again. If he
That's
would have
true.
been held accountable the first time, instead of them saying, "Oh, he's not in office anymore. He's not." That was the bullshit. If he would have been held accountable right there, that would have stopped it right then in the tracks. There's just so many things for so long where the accountability hasn't happened. You know, when they were sitting there unaliving black men on TV by the, you know, it was like for it seemed like every other freaking day you were hearing about somebody else, black people just being unalived by the police. The fact that that people saw stuff like that, people saw J6 happen, and then afterwards try to walk it back, like that should have been
Oh,
a wake up
I mean,
for a lot of people.
and it was a wake up, I think, for a lot of people, and it didn't surprise me that he got nominated. I know how few people actually take part in primaries. It doesn't take many people to have someone win a primary. The fact that 77 million people voted for him was a larger surprise to me. And again, you probably right. It probably shouldn't have been after everything that's gone on, but there was a part of me that always, I guess, just wanted to believe that we were better than this. And I mean, we talked about it. It seemed after everything that happened, at least my brain was sitting there going, there is no way that he will get enough votes. And it was wrong. And it was again, it's not a surprise that there are those out there. It's the amount of those that were out there, I think, was the shocker for me. That 77 million of them were out there. But
this is the way I like to put it. It's not, to me, it's not that it's shocking. It's just wild to see it unfold in real time. That's the thing. It's just like, is the possibility out there? Yeah. Is it do I think that the country has quote unquote changed or whatnot? In some ways, yes, but largely no. But still, to just, like you said, knowing all that we've seen, all that we've experienced, it's just like, after all of that, y'all still gonna go up there? Y'all are just, it's just, like I said, it's just wild to see it unfold in real time. That's the thing.
Can I say something? I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna be really real and really raw here. This is part of the part, and when you listen to especially black folks, when you hear them speak about that they're frustrated that YT people haven't woken up a long time ago and realized, it's really frustrating. Like, for me, Julie, the fact that we literally had people who their job was like they signed up and they hunted down people, like we bred people as human beings in this country. We had chattel slavery, we had Jim Crow. I mean, you literally can watch on camera seeing black people being hosed down and being attacked by dogs. And that wasn't that long ago. Those people that were participants in that those people are, a lot of them are still alive and still voting. And it just, I wish that people would just like really wake up and listen. Like, I think it's frustrating because it really took until it started happening to YT people that it even got louder and louder. I'm not saying that there haven't been protests and that people haven't been speaking out, but it's just, I see it, and it's so there's so many feelings. I have so many feelings about it, and it's frustrating. It is so frustrating. It is so frustrating. After all those people, like what kept happening, and these police officers and all these other people just kept not being held accountable. I just,
and you have every right to be frustrated. You have every right. Every BIPOC, a member of the BIPOC community, has a right to be frustrated that people that look like me took so long to figure it out. Yep. Not that it makes you feel any better, but I'm frustrated with me that it took me as long as it did to figure it out. Not that I was ever like that, like that far on, but I know I never realized how bad it was.
And I wonder sometimes, Mike, and I appreciate you saying that. I really do. I sometimes wonder if it's in chat, you guys can, throw in too. I sometimes wonder if it's because, like, I had trauma, so many different kinds of trauma happened to me that I haven't had rose colored glasses since I was a child. And I know
Hmm.
for some people they never have. And just so many things happening, with what happened to my cousin, to things I've been through, trauma to myself personally in many different ways, that my rose colored glasses were off a long time ago. And I don't put anything beneath almost anybody. And
Hmm.
I think that's the thing. It's like sometimes, like, have you ever listened to like Bex when she shares the story of like how she grew up, like how she grew up, a mom and dad, her mom, her and her two brothers, everything was good, home cooked meals and it was like listening to her is like legit how when I would see YT families like on TV, it didn't seem real to me. I was like, is that really real? Like, is that how like people actively live like that? And then to hear her talk about it, and it's just it honestly blew my mind to know that people act, and I was like, and that makes me it little implosions in my brain all the time where the light bulbs click going off, and it's like I wonder if people really had bad things happen to them before, if they would be not so easy to kind of gloss over how good everything really is.
Yep. And again, having been someone who went through that, at least to a smaller extent than others, obviously, but still went through it. Part of it was where I grew up, the level of interaction I had with anybody that thought different than me. Um, it's I don't know how best to describe what I'm thinking, because there shouldn't be any excuse. There literally shouldn't be. And I can say that because I understand that and I've accepted that with me. I've accepted my part in the problem and the fact that and I've I've had to and will continue to have to do the work. Because as much as I'd like to say I'm fully out of it, I still, you know, I spent most of my life in the bubble. I spent most of my life with that problem. And it's not there's every single day, especially doing this, especially having people like you and Shug in my life that talk about what they went through in their life. Um, I realize again and again ways that I have messed up and still am messing up because of how I grew up. And as I've said on many occasions, it's all of us till it's none of us. We need to accept that our we need part of learning and growing is accepting that you were a part of the problem. And part of that process does involve having to come to terms with things that seem blatantly obvious to those that have been screaming from the rooftops that things have been like this. I can't imagine how frustrating it is for either of you to have it to require two people that look like me to lose their life to wake people up. If I were in your shoes, in your situations, having experienced what you guys have experienced, I would feel the exact same way. 100% feel it. I feel it to an extent now because I know you, because I know better.
Yeah, I mean, we've obviously we've touched on, we've talked about this at length and everything before, and what it comes back to, an example I always like to give is like, it's like somebody, somebody with lupus, right? That's their lived experience. They live with it. They have it, and if you don't have it, you don't necessarily go around thinking about what a life with lupus is like, and it's the same as true as here. It's like this is the lived experience from before we were born. We already come into the world for folks that look like Kia and I to where. What, son? My card. Hey, let me finish talking, son. I'll be there in a second, okay? Let's take a walk. All right, my king. Let's take a walk. Yes, sir, we will. But there's, for like I said, for our lived experience, where it's just this has been a part of the game before we were born. We come in like it's just like before, like with my son. I already know at a certain point I'm going to have to let him know why he is most likely going to have some experience and be treated different than everybody else he sees around. This is a conversation that before he was here, I already knew I'm going to have this conversation with him one day. Oh, hang on, y'all.
Oh no.
Uh-oh. You know what that sound means. We got boo-boo.
I said I wanted to walk. My daddy said wait. So I'm going to go cause trouble. And then I'm going to get myself hurt by doing it.
Exactly. Wow, the conversation on the other side is dope about this right now.
Kid down.
Even like going back up when Julie said, I was hoping this country was past that and that we had learned. I had hope when the murder or the murders of George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery were convicted. And it's like the problem is that it happened to so many, and so many of them weren't ever convicted or held accountable. I mean, I speak with personal experience in this. The person that unalived my cousin, they try to promote to the police chief, like,
Mm-hmm.
and my cousin wasn't anybody famous or popular, so no one ever heard about it. It wasn't caught on a cell phone. And it was basically only what the cop said, even though, an autopsy showed something different than what he said.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing is it's I've thought more, like I was sitting there thinking about like my Nana the other day. My Nana was YT. For those of you guys that don't know, I am biracial. I'm a biracial Black woman. My mom is YT. My dad, my pops was Black, and my Nana used to, like, when she would get phone calls from like telemarketers or bill collectors or whatever, and they were calling from overseas somewhere. I was sitting there the other day, just some of the things that she said just kind of popped in my head, and how she used to pick on their accent and their voices and how they talked. And I knew, that my Nana definitely was racist. She was born in North Carolina in 1940. Just there was even certain comments and things that she would say to me that I, especially as I got older, and it really kind of I don't think she liked it because if she said something that I didn't like or was you know, and I didn't never straight out call her racist, but like, don't call me a girl. I'm not your slave. I'm not your pet. I'm a grown ass woman with my own kids in my own home. Don't do that. Don't minimize me, you know. And it's a tonal thing for sure, you know.
Hmm.
Um, there's so many things. Like even somebody was talking about, I heard on Steve's panel today, somebody that called in, um, and they were saying that they didn't realize like coming down even like how in Texas and other states that have those crown act the different when it comes to going to school and having a dress code that has to do with hair and how hard it is for people in BIPOC and other ethnic communities to hold those quote unquote status quos for those dress codes, what that means, you know. It's just, yeah, Stu, I feel you. I went no, I'm no contact with my mom right now. And I have been since the summer, so I feel you guys. And I just, the one thing for me that I hope that continues to happen is that we keep having people continue their deconstruction. I love that Clara always talks about. I remember one of the very first conversations we had and how Clara always, you know, I've seen in Claire the want to do the work. And that's the other thing. You know what I mean? Like you have to want to do the work and understand it. It's going to be your whole life. And you're going to hear something. And at first it might catch you off guard. But then you have to realize like you don't get to tell somebody else what they get to feel like.
There's a bunch of different things that are needed when it comes to getting out of the situation that we're in. The reality of this country is it was built on racism, and a lot of people have done a lot of work to make people that look like me think that enough work has been done and it no longer exists. And because of that, a lot of people have had a certain level of experiences, different experiences that have caused that. Just the reality is it's going to take different things to get people out of what they have been taught potentially their entire life. And I'm in no way saying anybody, especially if you're part of the BIPOC community or a marginalized community, needs to be willing to open your door to anyone like that, or be willing to just say, you know, oh, you realize that Trump's not as good as you thought he was. Just come on in, you know, welcome to the party. No, not saying that in any way, shape, or form. In that respect, especially, and I've seen actually a space for that. I've seen someone who was former MAGA, who's realized it and been doing the work themselves, create a space for other former MAGA that they can welcome in and start the process of healing. The reality is we're all at different places. Especially if you look like me, we're all in different places of our deconstruction, of our healing from the realities that we grew up in this country. And there are ways that we can find to say we're not at the same place yet, which means we might not be able to say, you know, call ourselves best, you know, we can't be best friends right now, but we can agree that there is a problem that we can come together on right now, and there can still be different groups of people working on things in wherever they are in their healing, in their deconstruction, and not everyone is going to heal the same way. Again, it's always weird to me how, like, the thing that was always weird to me about people that struggle with, I don't know, empathy and humanity is this idea of, I can't say what I want, or I'm always all of these things that I'm used to saying I can't say anymore. And my brain goes, so what? Like there's not enough other words in the English language that you have to say these words. All you have to do is care. You're gonna mess up. You apologize and you show that you care, but when you complain, they know that you don't care. The second you mess up and someone who has been hurt by those words, someone who has lived experiences and says those words hurt me, of course you're not going to understand it because those words don't hurt you. The problem is not that you don't understand it. It's that how you respond when someone else says it. If you care, you're willing to do the work. If you care, you're willing to step up. If you care, you're willing to admit that you messed up. It doesn't mean you won't ever mess up. We all mess up. We all make mistakes. The key is not that you stop making mistakes. It's that you are willing to learn from those mistakes and be better. And the fact is there's a lot of problems right now. There's a lot of problems that we got to work through. Some of them don't have to do with stuff we're talking about. There are other things. There are just so many things. And sometimes it feels overwhelming. And that is understandable, 100%.
Yeah, because one of the most uncomfortable things is to learn everything that you thought was true or real or right is not.
Yep.
That's a hard that can be hard for some people, and sometimes and people are going to be uncomfortable. It's like when I say things in here, and there's been different times when we've had some heavy conversations, and people in the comments have piped up and they're like, hey, why do you feel that way? I need you to sit with that. If it made you feel some type of way, why? What about what I said? It's the same thing. Always think about that. Especially if you're listening to somebody from a different community than you, whether it's BIPOC, whether it's LGBTQIA plus community, whether it's any other community that you're not a part of. If anything, that when people are laying out fact stuff, now there's some things, I'm not saying you're going to always agree with what everybody says, but if something that somebody says, some kind of truth, if they're sharing their truth or facts and it makes you uncomfortable, why? Because you don't get to tell somebody else about their truths. That was one of the things I'll straight up tell you, like there was an issue that I had a couple years ago. I was struggling in Mike's Discord, and I straight up told him I was frustrated because I was trying to share my experience as a Black woman, and I was getting met with data and statistics and all of this. And I'm like, I don't think you realize what you're doing, but then when I say something to you and you keep doing it, that tells me you don't care what I'm saying, and that's an issue. There's so many different things that you have to think about, and other people changed. I have to say I'm quite impressed with how some people have done the work and other people just didn't, and they didn't care to, and other people did, and I love that. I love to see when people put in the work, and I love the fact that I feel safe enough here that I can have these kind of conversations that might make Mike uncomfortable, that might make some of you guys uncomfortable, and I'm glad it does. I'm glad I'm able to challenge you, because I wish if people would have challenged you your whole lives, if people would have held your your incorrect opinions and thoughts and biases and racism and all of the different things, if they would have held you accountable or started filling you with knowledge earlier, then hopefully as a grown-ass person you wouldn't be there.
Mhm. And I'll be honest, at least on from now at least, most of the uncomfortability I feel is actually, I feel bad. I feel bad that that people that look like you, the people of the BIPOC community still feel this. And there are days where I feel like there's nothing I can do to help. And there are days where I'm like, I wish I could, just smack some people and be like, wake up so we can start healing. But
Dreamcatcher is no longer able to come back. I guess they didn't catch the hint the first time. And people that say stuff like that, when people in other communities talk about their experiences and you say that that's victim mentality, you are unsafe. You are an unsafe person for any kind of marginalized community to be around.
Todd Blanche just said that 3 million pages of the e-files are being released today. Yeah, we'll see how many actual words we can see on it. We'll see a lot of the words the. That's for sure. Who, the same people that did it over 20 years ago before ICE existed, Joey. The same people that did the job before ICE existed over 20 years ago. I know y'all think that who is that? The INS. I think it's the INS. Is that? I think those are the.
Good morning again.
Hello.
Hey, I'm up here twice in one day. It's a miracle.
Miracle.
It's a miracle. Thank you, Kia, for shouting out and noticing some of this. I just really, I mean, Mike's kind of talked about it, but as a YT woman, I'm going to just put this out there. I was raised in a very ethnic diverse area. I raised my kids in a very ethnic diverse area. But it really had to kind of take somebody like Kia to kind of challenge me on how many racist tropes that I still had in my brain that I didn't realize I had. I always thought, I'm progressive, I'm this. And it really took somebody to really put a mirror up to me and say, look at this. And so, dealing in the, and, I realize now that this is something I'm deconstructing, working with my adult children to deconstruct, working with my grandchildren, because it is a generational thing. But one thing I want to really push a lot of progressive YT people to think, one thing that I've learned is that it is up to us to dismantle a lot of the racist tropes that are out there and the systemic racism that continues to permeate through our society. It's not anybody else's responsibility. It's nobody from the BIPOC community to do it. It's really up to us as YT people um, to take this head on. And sometimes, I get really tired, which is one of the reasons why I'm not on TikTok a lot. Um, dealing with a lot of the racist rhetoric that permeates, especially with MAGA. Um, and I do have to take it in chunks. But when I see it, I don't have the luxury of just letting it go in my own mind. I don't have the luxury of doing that. It it's imperative that I call it out when I see it, for myself. Um, so um, and that's really hard to put in so many letters and so many numbers over on the tube, to be able to say that. Um, is kind of what I wanted to really bring forth, because I know there are YT people that really push for the deconstruction and stuff, but I think there's a lot of people that are progressive that don't necessarily recognize it in themselves, and I would just challenge them to look at that in a different way.
Sure. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, anyone who thinks that they have learned and figured out everything, whether it's people that look like Clara and I, about racism and our, the racism that was built into us by just growing up in this country, or anything else, or religious people, or religion in general, or anything. We all are always constantly learning, and we should be constantly learning. And we need to accept the fact that we don't know everything and there is more that we can learn. And we also need to be constantly listening. That's just part of living life. If you aren't listening, if you aren't learning, you're dying. And yes, I'm going to say it. I don't care. I'm going to use the word.
Not only listening, but I also really validating what people are saying, and trying to have empathy for their experiences.
Sure.
And validating them is a big part of that learning process too.
Sure. Yes, empathy is necessary. And again, there's a misconception that you see a lot of people, especially that, again, look like me, that empathy means agreement or understanding. And I think that's where a lot of people get it wrong. I've said this before. It does not matter how much I talk and listen to people like Shug or Kia. I will never understand what it's like to live in America as a black person, or a brown person, or an indigenous person, or any person of color. I will never, ever fully understand. It's not that I wouldn't try. It's not that I don't attempt to try. It's just not possible. There is no existence in this country that I can actually compare. Like, the idea of being nervous about what a police officer might do when they pull me over. I cannot fathom it. I can hear it. I can understand it. I can believe it to my bone. But I will never witness that. At least not right now. Obviously the world can change. But as it stands right now, I have no basis of fully understanding what that feels like. I understand the concept of it. I can understand the concept of, I've seen video of it happening. So obviously I know it happens. But I cannot see the world through that lens because that's just not the world I grew up in. And it never, at this moment, it never will be. Nor should it be for any person, by the way.
The other thing I would add to that too, Mike, is one thing that I've had to come to terms with in my deconstruction is I will never understand that visceral response that somebody who is Black and walks out their door and goes out into the world. I'm never going to understand that visceral reaction to what's going on. And that's just part of who I've had to come to terms with that as a white person. And people might look at that as weird. It's the honest to God truth that I just am never going to understand that.
Yeah.
In my own life.
And here's the thing. So many people in this country take that as an insult. So many people in this country take that as they would take that statement as an insult. It's not an insult. It's a reality. Just accept it. So people feel like they are a bad person because of that reality. That doesn't make you a bad person. That's a reality. What makes you a bad person is how you respond to that reality. What makes you a bad person is being unwilling to learn and listen when you are told the reality. Am I allowed to be here? That's up to you, dude.
I reported that username. That was just gross.
Oh, yeah. You're a Trump guy. We do not get rid of people just because they are Trump guys, if that's what you're asking.
Do you mind if I do my commercial real quick again before I jump down? So for those of you that really like what's going on here, Mike has some amazing podcasts, long and short format over on the Tube. We are live over on the Tube as well right now, where we have some real amazing conversations about this. We don't know what this app is going to do, so come over and see us and be a part of that community as well. Because if we need to, then that's another way of being able to continue to be a part of this community and help it grow. And unless somebody else has something to say, I'll drop down.
Thank you. I appreciate you coming up and saying that again. Coming up twice.
Woohoo, Clara.
Twice in one day. Shocking.
I am Mike. I am Mike.
Suge, what's the freaking temperature? I'm like disgusted right now. I see sunshine
He's
and
in
like some
Georgia.
clouds. And I mean, are you in Florida?
Georgia.
He's shaking his head no.
I'm in Florida.
Oh, you're in Florida.
Yeah, I'm in Florida.
I thought
Yeah,
you were
you
in
good.
Georgia.
No, I'm in Florida. I've always been in Florida. It's 59 degrees. My wife just said 59 and sunny, obviously. Yeah, get you some.
It's supposed to be 9 degrees here on Sunday.
Yeah, it's yeah, we're actually supposed to drop down into single digits here, actually, which is kind of wild. But what I do for 59 degrees. Listen, I'm gonna tell you for all the and I can say this as a Florida native. For all the stuff that we do wild things about and get crazy about, Florida gets the weather right at least. That's the one thing I can give it. we do get the weather right. It has it's no respecter of persons when it comes to the seasons. It's just kind of always like this for the most part. Something I did want to chime in on briefly for that. I know that comment's been long removed, but it's very interesting when people try to say victim mentality or whatever. You know what the wild part about the statement is? Even if let's just go with that for a second and say that there was a victim mentality, it would apply because we're actually victims. So okay, victim mentality, yes, for actual victims that applies. When you've been victimized, what is the alternate mentality I'm supposed to have? This is the lens that we have been, unfortunately, in this country, forced to see this country through. So we have to react in a way that does our best to keep us from becoming or continuing to be victims of the systems that the folks in this country who designed it have perpetuated.
Trump 2028. Just so you know, I don't bring up people I don't know. You're more than welcome to talk in chat, but if I don't know you, people that I don't know don't come into the box. I appreciate that though. That is a constant rule that I've had for years now. I'll see you Florida weather and raise you a California weather. Hey,
Well, you say he's in Georgia. I'm like, well, shit, we're in North Carolina and we got damn snow coming. The damn, but gosh, you're so right when you say that, Suge. Like, I can't stand that when people say it's victim mentality. Those are people who don't have empathy. They don't understand what it's like to try to put themselves in somebody else's shoes.
Vonda, why did you mute Lori for 5 minutes? I got it. Huh?
Yeah, you might want to check your muted time because the one that you muted for being rude for 5 minutes came back after 5 minutes and was rude again, so he's blocked now. Hey, Danielle. Suge, did you see Rosa's question? Look,
here's the thing. Anyone that tries to tell someone in the BIPOC community that their experiences in life are victim mentality is privileged and has no idea what's going on in the world. That's just a fact. Just because you don't experience it does not mean that it's not real.
Yeah, it's really it's really frustrating too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like if you pay attention to what people say, oftentimes even if they show so much about themselves. And like I said, when you say stuff like that, it just shows such a lack of empathy, or when you say get over it or just deal with it or it is what it is. I can't stand that saying it is what it is.
Or the people that use the experience of one other person, or you know, saying that there is, that we don't need X, Y, and Z. We don't need these protections for the BIPOC community. We don't need these protections for women, because look at these women that have succeeded. Look at these women that have quote unquote made it, as though 5, 10, 15, 100 people doesn't making it quote unquote doesn't make them the like is somehow like when it to be not a problem. People being on the same level or making it or having the same kind of experience across the board is what you're shooting for. To sit here and point out, oh, these 10 people, they succeeded, that must mean nobody else is experiencing this anymore. That's short-sighted.
You know what? I actually have the perfect example / pushback for that. And this is an honest question. Have you ever heard of Black Woodstock, Mike?
I have not.
Okay, so this is it wasn't called that. It wasn't called that exactly, but it's effectively what it was sort of nicknamed. Okay, and there was Vaughn. Okay, great. That's perfect. That you know what I'm talking about. So these are people that you know. Okay, Stevie Wonder, Nina Simone, David Ruffin, who's the leader of the Temptations. He was there. So many famous artists. Yes, Yes, Vonna. Thank you. So there's so many famous artists that came together and they put this huge festival on, and they were highlighting the issues at the time. Okay, in a little bit we'll get some. Okay, that's yes, sir. You have my word. I got you. And effectively, when
get some carrots a little bit.
That's correct, sir.
After we play outside.
After we play outside, and we can go inside and we'll get you some. Deal? All right. You happy for the candy? Good deal, man. So effectively, like I said, you got all these big names, right? Huge names. People know. I'm talking about they're actively having hits and topping the charts on the radio and all of this stuff. Do you know that they went to radio stations and they couldn't get promotions for it? Nobody. As a matter of fact, there was a whole one of the whatever public radio. I don't want to misquote, but it was either ABC, PBS, but one of those, right? They put it on there, and they said that nobody. So the park was full just because of word of mouth mostly, but most radio stations wouldn't advertise it because you had, black,
Yeah.
all these black music folks and all this. But anyhow, the park was full. It was a great concert, and then the footage that was recorded of it was locked away for like 40 years or
Oh
so.
my god.
Just the footage of it, just because they didn't want to see so much harmony and love take place. And mind you, there were people of all walks of life. There was white folks, there was black folks, there was Hispanic people. All people was coming together, really just enjoying themselves. And this footage had been covered and like in a vault for like 40 or 50 years. So yeah, even and so here's what that
And those are
shows.
people that made it.
Yeah, right. That's exactly the point. For these are folks that made it, and that just shows that you can make it in this country and still be treated poorly or unfairly. I mean, look at what what's the Jesse Owens with the movie Race or whatever. How he had just come back from winning the Olympics for the United States. He made it, right? Do you know that when they had a dinner honoring him and the Olympians, he could not use the front entrance to the door. He said, "Sorry, Mr. Owens, you can't come in this door." He just finished winning the Olympics for the United States, and he had to use the door for colored people. So yeah, even when you make it, you're not the same.
Yeah.
Just know that.
Yep. And again, it still comes down to, and you hear it a lot here. I mean, how many people have come into my lives and go, well, I haven't experienced it, so it must not be true. You know, I've got black friends, so there must be no racism. I've never seen, you know, someone I know is using Snap incorrectly. So all Snap must be being used incorrectly. Or like, it's just all the Christians that I know are good. So it can't be any Christians. This is the problem that we get. And this is why empathy is important. This is why listening to other people are being important. Now, again, are there people in the world that are bad? Of course there are. Are there people in the world that do bad things? Of course there are. But just because you don't like it, you don't agree with it, or you never experienced it, doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Rox, I think you're getting filtered. Roxanne, I think you're getting filtered. I see a comment that says degree, this is my field of study, but I can't, and there's like a hyphen.
Yeah.
But I don't see the one prior.
Sorry. This app is really bad about filtering people. Like really bad.
Yeah, and you know what, Mike? Here's the other part that they're not that when people say certain stuff that they're also not realizing is that so you, like you said, like you bring Kia and I up, and you could be one of those, you could have been, let me say, one of those folks that's like, oh well, I have Suge and Kia up all the time, so we must be in a great place, right? Okay, listen, here's like I said, here's the unspoken part about that is they don't realize how hard it was for us to be able to interact like this. Just this interaction, my dad's generation ago was a big deal to a lot of people. It was a, hey, you don't talk to someone that looks like Suge. I don't, hey, what are you doing? So yeah, they don't realize down to the minutest of details how hard people had to fight for these interactions. So you have to realize, like, hey, yeah, I got you, son. We're gonna get you something to eat.
You're up, Daddy.
I'm up, son. Don't do it like that, boy. So that's the thing. Matter of fact, I mean, there's plenty of movies that you can watch that'll give you at least some frame of reference and paint the idea, but still, it really is all these interactions that take place, all the stuff that we have, that we fought, sweat, and been unalive for. This didn't happen like randomly, organically. Like, listen, I want to be very clear. I am very glad for anyone who hasn't had to directly experience that type of terrible interaction to a place where they're like, oh, well, I interact with these folks. I interact with people of different races all the time. I'm glad that you're able to have that. You just have to realize the way that came to be, for one, and you have to realize that, like you said, that's not the situation across the board.
Yeah.
We wish it was. That would be wonderful if everybody was growing up in a space where they're like, I don't see no problem with, hey, no, we're good. No, I wish we were good. And the last part I'm gonna say for now is a lot of folks don't realize that the goalpost with us, for folks that look like he and I, that goalpost continues to move. First is okay, we're gonna treat them as property. Then that goes away. Okay, hey, we're gonna not treat them as property anymore, but the residuals that we got off of it was too good, so we got to come up with something.
Yep.
Oh, so we're not gonna call them slaves anymore. We'll call them criminals. We'll criminalize them.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not working so much as well. So what we'll do? We'll put them in conditions that are so rough and terrible that we can continue to funnel them into our system. Oh
Yep.
man, that's not working so good anymore. Let's see, what else can we do? I tell you, oh, you know what, man? They've started places like Black Wall Street and Rosewood, so we got to go in there and we got to bomb that, right? It's all
Yeah.
there's all every time that a marker gets set, we beat it, and then they set a new marker.
It's interesting because this exactly what kind of stuff you're talking about. Here's the reality. As much as people say they love the Constitution, the reality is the Constitution was built with racism involved. It was. You cannot like it. I don't care. It was. And this entire society from that moment on has still had that as a basis because the beginning of society in this country via that Constitution has that built into it. We can add amendments all we want. That doesn't change the fact, which is why I have constantly been pushing for a new Constitution. Obviously, there are other things that we need to fix, but in terms of this, we need to start from the basis of, we need to start with a basis of equality and equity if we want to actually build a society that has it. As long as the basis, the foundation of what we have here still has that built into it, we're always going to deal with that problem.
You know what's funny, the challenge is, and you mentioned it literally right at the end there when you talked about that foundation. If they actually lived up to what they wrote, we would be just fine. Yeah,
Arguably, yeah.
That's the thing. Like you're not living up to all men are created equal. No, you can't go property and say all men are created equal.
Yeah,
that's not gonna work, man.
It just shows the ultimate problem is that when it was written, it was literally written with hypocrisy built into it.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
How can you say all men are created equal when you already don't consider all men created equal? So, right. How can we say that women are equal when it was written specifically for men? Anyways, guys, I need to get off early. I had to move an interview up a little earlier than I normally would because of some scheduling issues. It's a cool interviewing someone who's running for Senate in Oklahoma. So for everybody that is here, be safe, especially if you are in the storm's way that's coming. Please be safe. It's going to be so cold, and especially if you're in the South, our houses were not made for the cold that we are going to get. So please be careful. Please go and watch the content that I am putting out. Help these people that are trying to make the change that we keep saying that we want made. These people need visibility. These people need name recognition. They need that more than anything. They need volunteers. If I end up interviewing someone in your district, do that too. But and if you can afford to give, that also is helpful. But what they need more than anything is name recognition, because name recognition helps get them to pay attention, helps get people to pay attention. helps get them maybe more interviews than they normally would get. By the way, Ash, I know you saw that I saw it. Thank you so much for the 10 gifted memberships over on the tube. You are an absolutely amazing human being. And thank you. Your support, all of your support, not just you, all of you have been so supportive, and it boggles my mind every single day. But seriously, guys, have an amazing weekend. I'll be back on Monday, and we'll take it just another step. We'll deal with whatever BS we had to deal with over the weekend. We'll start talking about it then. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you for the likes, the gifts, the subs. I appreciate you. Thank you for everyone, Kia, Shug, and Clara, for coming up and talking. You guys are amazing. I love you guys so much. Yeah.
Love you back, brother.
Love you too. Bye, guys.
You guys
care,
are
brother.
amazing just the way you are, and I love you all very much. Stay safe, stay healthy. Remember to sing, laugh, dance, smile. Do something that makes you happy. If you're in the South, go play in the snow. Bye, guys. Bye, guys. Have a great weekend. Love you.